clearly had a plan ready. When did you think of this? Did it just pop into your head because you just were, the letter of the day was B? What's happening?
Definitely B was stuck in my head, but I needed to use it appropriately. Listen, I did not have this locked and loaded. After the chairman decided he was going to rule that way, in the midst of me trying to get his attention so that I could do a parliamentary inquiry, I looked over at her and I started from her head to her toe. So that's why I started with bleach blonde. My granny used to have a saying. She used to say that people were bad built. Y'all know how old black women can get sometimes. They just say what they say. And so that was kind of an ode to my granny. And then obviously,
it went viral. I mean, the thing is, it definitely had black grandma vibes, which is why I think you're so young to have that black grandma. But the thing, I think the reason it resonated, honestly.
All right, guys, so it's time to piss off the pro-black super simps once again because I have to talk about ghetto Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, who is being paraded around in the mainstream liberal media as if she's some type of hero, okay, when she's really not, okay? She really is an embarrassment to Congress. Her behavior was embarrassing, and is even more embarrassing that the mainstream liberal media is defending this behavior and co-signing this behavior by rewarding her for acting the way that she did by having her on their mainstream liberal media platforms to pretend like she's some type of victim. And that's what Joy Reid is going to do here. As you guys saw at the beginning of this video, Joy Reid is kiki and ha-ha at Jasmine Crockett's little bad built butch body, whatever she was talking about, right? But again, it's just funny to me because I think that that's a more accurate description of Joy Reid than Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? You talk about blonde, bad built, butch body. I think that describes Joy Reid, and it honestly may, at least outside of the blonde part, it might describe Jasmine Crockett even more. Who knows? I'm just saying, but this is what they're doing, okay? This is what they're doing. And what's even funny about this is the fact that even though the mainstream liberal media and a lot of the pro-black woke revolutionaries are acting like Jasmine Crockett's clapback was so good, right, and that she won that exchange, it seems to me that Jasmine Crockett is more hurt by what Marjorie Taylor Greene said than what she said to Marjorie Taylor Greene, because she's in Congress boohoo whining and crying about people criticizing her and her behavior.
All I could think about was the fact that I currently hold an honorary doctorate. I also hold a Juris Doctorate. I also hold a bachelor's. I also technically hold the rank of Lieutenant Colonel in the Civil Air Patrol, and I actually practiced law for almost 2 decades, in addition to serving on various boards, in addition to being a prior state lawmaker. And there are those that would make some people believe that because I happen to be black and or a woman, that somehow, even though I can rattle off all the qualifications in the world, my blackness makes me unqualified.
And the reason why I'm doing this video is not necessarily because of the whole, bad built, butch body thing. That's not why I'm doing this video. I'm doing this video because Joy Reid is going to make a pretty insane claim here, where she's going to make something that Jasmine Crockett said more racial than what she initially said. And this really has to deal with Jasmine Crockett talking about food stamps in Congress. Okay, she was essentially trying to make the case for urban America not benefiting as much from food stamps as rural America, as a way to essentially promote food stamps and defend funding for food stamps. Take a look.
A farm bill, it is for everyone in the United States of America. And just to clarify, when it comes to SNAP benefits specifically, rural America uses more SNAP benefits than urban America. And right now, I serve an urban district. The majority of my Republican colleagues serve rural districts. So when I say that I'm fighting for a bill that includes making sure that people in this country don't go hungry, I'm not saying that just to say that this is about Texas 30. I'm saying that to say that this is about all of us. So I am not just fighting for my constituents, I'm fighting for yours too.
Yeah, so on his face, that claim that she made is not racial, okay? But I'm not sure if she meant it in a way that's racial. Maybe she did, maybe she didn't. But she didn't really push back when Joy Reid, and you also have others as well too, have basically interpreted this claim that she made about food stamps benefiting rural America more than urban America, they interpreted that in a way that is racial, or that she's making a racial claim. And I want to react to it because this is probably one of the most disingenuous sleight of hand statements that I've ever heard from Joy Reid. And it's pretty hard to beat Joy Reid when it comes to some of the out of control things that she says. But what she's going to say here, okay, and the fact that Jasmine Crockett doesn't deny what she's saying, tells you everything you need to know about how these people really don't care about facts or details, okay, or nuances unless it fits their narrative. So without further ado, let's get into this.
It did not seem as if my colleague understood that someone can be diverse and qualified. And it is why you have people like me that get very frustrated, not just in the halls of Congress, but in general in this country. There are those that would make some people believe that because I happen to be Black and or a woman, that somehow, even though I can rattle off all the qualifications in the world, my Blackness makes me unqualified.
I think one of the reasons that you have become so beloved by so many people, even if they're not political, is that you use your platform to do things like that. It's not just the funny viral moments of you taking down a bully. It's you really seeing Black women who are in public spaces and who are facing what you're facing, all the accomplishments being thrown away. But you also went viral this week for pointing out that SNAP benefits, most of those go to rural communities, not Black people. Like you're using.
Wow. Did you guys hear that? You saw you heard the sleight of hand from Joy Reid there. That SNAP benefits mostly benefit rural America, not Black people, right? This is what she said. But that's not what Jasmine Crockett said. However, Jasmine Crockett is confirming that that's what she really meant, right? When she tried to say, well, rural America, what she really meant was white people, right? She's not denying Joy Reid racializing what she said, okay? So maybe that is actually what Jasmine Crockett meant, okay? Now, again, hey, I can only come to that conclusion using the logic here that she's not denying it. Joy Reid purposely just racialized it. And you also have other people like Roland Martin rolling with this narrative as well, too, that, hey, Jasmine Crockett said that white folks benefit more from food stamps than Blacks, right? This is what she really meant when she said rural America benefits more than urban America. This is what she really meant. So let's actually dig into that, okay? Because if you want to talk about it, let's talk about it, because it seems as if these people, when it comes to certain issues, like, for example, police brutality, they tend to understand how per capita works. But when it comes to issues like this, they don't understand how per capita works, because as soon as you say, well, white people are the victims of police brutality more than Blacks, the first thing they'll say is what? What's the first thing they'll say?
Well, as a percentage of the population, Black people are more affected by police brutality because they're overrepresented as victims of police brutality. Black people are only 13% of the population, but they make up more of the victims than the population.
That's what they'll say. Right? It's an easy concept for them to understand when it fits their narrative, okay? However, when it doesn't fit their narrative, they all of a sudden it goes out the window. They don't really care about per capita anymore. They don't really care about all of that stuff, right? And that's exactly what's happening with this conversation on SNAP benefits. But since Joy Reid wants to racialize it, and Roland Martin wants to racialize it, and Jasmine Crockett doesn't want to deny that what she meant was racial, let's talk about it, okay? Let's look at the statistics. When you look at white non-Hispanics, they make up 39.8% of all food stamp recipients. Black people make up 27.0%, and Hispanics make up 27.0%. So, as a proportion of the population, Black people are only 13% of the population, but yet they make up 27% of food stamp recipients. So they are overrepresented as a proportion of the population, which means that Black people disproportionately benefit from SNAP more than any other racial group, okay? Because if you look at white, they only make up about 40% of the people on food stamps. However, whites are about 60% of the population, so they disproportionately do not benefit, right? They are underrepresented when you talk about food stamp recipients. And I think Hispanics are right about aligned with their population, their percentage of the population. They may be slightly overrepresented, but not nearly as much as black people, okay? So again, when you talk about race overall, seems to me that blacks tend to benefit more from food stamps than everybody else for the most part, okay? If you look at the actual statistics, and this is from Pew Research, okay? This is as of 2020. Which, again, I'm pretty sure this hasn't really changed much, to be quite honest with you, especially in Biden's economy. But let's dig deeper here, okay? This is from the USDA. This is data in regards to the percentage of rural and urban populations by race and ethnicity. This is as of 2018. Of the rural population, 7.8% are black, 78.2% are white. Now, it is true that most of rural America is white, but that's a far cry from what Joy Reid is claiming, which is basically that all of rural America is white. In fact, I've seen numbers that suggest the population of black people living in rural America could actually be higher. Okay, but we're going to stick with the government numbers here just so that, you know, we have some legitimacy behind this. But yeah, 7.8% of rural America. Let's dig a little bit deeper from the USDA. This right here is a chart from 2019 of U.S. poverty rates in rural America by racial ethnic groups. Now, when you look at black people that live in poverty in rural America, 30.7%. 30.7% versus whites, 13.3%. Now, again, we can have a deeper conversation in regards to why that is, but that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is to point out that, well, when you look at rural America, not only is 7.8% of the population of rural America black, again, according to the government, but also when you look at the amount of people that are disproportionately benefiting from food stamps in rural America, it is black people, right? Because again, about a third of black people in rural America are living in poverty, which means what? They are more than likely getting food stamps. They're benefiting more from food stamps than the whites in rural America as a proportion of the population, which again is something that in any other context that benefits these people, they will understand that concept. But when it comes to this right here, when it comes to this conversation on food stamps, the first thing they want to do is throw out this really silly talking point about how, well, most of the people in America own food stamps are white. Well, duh. White Americans make up most of the population. So, of course, it is going to be likely that you're going to have more people who are white on food stamps as a whole because they make up most of the population, 60%. Again, a concept that will be easily understood by these people when you talk about police brutality, okay? They understand that. But when it comes to, again, certain topics like this one, right, and also sports as well, too, they don't seem to really understand that, hey, maybe the NFL needs some affirmative action because 70% of the population in the NFL, of the players, are black, right? Which means they are disproportionately represented, right? We need some more diversity in the NFL. Apparently, they don't believe in diversity in the NFL either. So when it comes to certain topics, certain issues, all that stuff they always want to try to guilt trip people with in regards to how black people are disproportionately the victims of this and that, all of a sudden that stuff goes out the window, right? Goes out the window, okay? When it comes to this conversation on food stamps. It's just amazing how that works. It really is. Now, again, I didn't want to make it racial, but these people decided to make it racial because had Joy Reid and Roland Martin not made it racial, I probably wouldn't have made this video. But it's because they tried to basically say rural America equals white and try to say, well, white people benefit more from food stamps than black people. Again, you just can't make a silly claim like that. It's just, it's really a nonsensical claim, especially, again, when you start to dig into the data. It's like 26% of black households receive food stamps versus 8% of all white households. And then once you actually look at the people that are eligible for food stamps, it is much more likely for black people to participate out of all the people that are eligible. So if you're white and you're eligible to receive food stamps, you're more likely to deny it, to say, no, I don't want food stamps. I'm good. I'd rather not have food stamps, even though I'm eligible to get them. Again, ain't it amazing how that works, right? Ain't it amazing how when you look at the data and statistics, you're like, this ain't the route that I would have went, right? I would not have racialized this issue like Joy Reid and Roland Martin did, and Jasmine Crockett basically, chose not to deny that she meant it in a racial way. Again, it's Amazing, right? Absolutely amazing.
Using your platform very well. What is your purpose and what do you want to accomplish? What do you want to be your big accomplishment?
I want people to truly feel like they're represented. We're supposed to live in a representative government. For far too long, representative government in this country has meant old white men. And there are so many people that felt like their stories, their experiences, that they were left out of the conversation. And I don't believe that I get to the privilege of sitting at this table and not amplifying the struggles that we're experiencing. Yeah. And the reality is that I sit in Congress, yet for whatever reason, I experience these as well. It doesn't matter what level you attain. Sometimes there are those that are always going to pretend as if you are lesser than simply because you are a woman or that you are a person of color.
Amen.
So basically what she meant was that she's there to be an agent of chaos and to become a social media star because she's not doing anything else except that. Okay, I mean, look at this. She spent all her time doing a little tour of social media trying to cry fake victimhood while also trying to sell these shirts that she made based off the chaos that she created in Congress. But yet again, she's the one crying victim. Oh, the white man, right? Oh, I'm a black woman, I'm a victim. No. You're not a victim at all. Evidenced by the fact that, again, look at how the mainstream liberal media is treating you. The ghetto behavior that you demonstrated in Congress is being rewarded. You're being rewarded for your bad behavior. But yeah, again, this person is boo-hoo-whining and crying as if, again, she's treated so badly in this country because she's black and a woman. When it's like, no, nobody gets treated better in this country than black women, right? You'd be hard-pressed to find any other group of people, demographic, that is treated better than black women in this country. I'm so serious. I'm so serious. Because you can't criticize them. Can't criticize them unless you're racist, right? Can't question them. Okay, you can't do any of that stuff. And then, again, even if they're in the wrong, the mainstream liberal media will come to their defense, will excuse their behavior and refuse to hold them accountable. And again, you're the one that's wrong. You're the one that's a bigot if you decide to correct her bad behavior. Again, it's ridiculous. It really is. Just as ridiculous as that claim that Joy Reid made. But anyways, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a black conservative perspective. Peace.